Welcome to the Workplace Ninja Summit 2022 podcast, a live recording directly from Lucerne with interesting topics.
And we are back for the next interview with someone on the table. And I got Jan on the table. And Jan is well-known in the community. So my name is Frans Oudendorp. Jan, maybe you can firstly shortly introduce yourself.
Yes, I can. My name is Jan Ketil Skanke. I live in Norway, right outside Oslo. And I work for a company called Cloudway. We are working in the M365 space. And also on the spare time I might have outside work, I blog on msendpointmanager.com along with a lot of other people from the MEM community. But lately the blog has also expanded out to identity, security, reporting, and it's really been growing in the type of content based on what we as a contributor on the blog has been doing as well.
And you have done on this conference. You have a few sessions, 3. The last one must still happen.
Yeah.
How do you enjoy the conference finally in person again?
Well, I would say it's really, really nice to get here to Lucerne, and the weather has been awesome. People has been awesome. You have this good community feeling because the conference is not too big.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like also coming home and meeting a lot of my friends I haven't seen for 2-3 years because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So it's really connecting with my friends and buddies.
Yeah, right? There are lots of familiar faces that we see 3 years ago almost, and but also a few new faces, and that is good to share knowledge, to interact with that people also.
Yeah, it's always nice because it's always coming new people into the community. It's a great day. They also get a chance to get on the stage or at least be here, talk to people and connect.
Yeah, and within the conference, you talked about identities, about some other topics, but the identity, beyond passwords, what does that mean?
Well, it means that, we all know that now, that passwords is not a good enough security measure to hinder people from getting into your data, your account, your environment. And this session is about how you should build up your environment, build up your Azure AD, your cloud, your tenant with correct security measures around the identity with conditional access, and then maybe take the final step and move over to passwordless, where you actually, or passwordless, right? We can't get rid of passwords yet because we can't turn them off, but we can start using passwordless methods like the Authenticator app or a FIDO key, or Windows Hello for Business, which many people know and have used for ages without thinking about that that's actually a passwordless logo.
And I know within my Microsoft account, my private Microsoft account, I already completely passwordless, so I let disappear my password there. Is that the future of also within Azure AD, for example?
Yeah, that's the future. They haven't said anything about timelines on it, but they have previously said that there will be a way in the future. It's part of their passwordless journey slides even. The promise from Microsoft is that we can get rid of passwords as a method.
Yeah, great. But because if you have something something you have, then it's clearly you that you can access the system, I guess.
Yeah, or something you are, right? Like your finger or your face.
Yeah, absolutely. Securing your identities, but also proactive remediation, and that's probably around endpoint analytics within Endpoint Manager.
Yep, it's Intune is a feature in Endpoint Analytics in Intune.
Yeah,
where we can basically run scripts, PowerShell scripts down on the clients to do basically whatever we want. It's a simple solution to get started on. It contains 2 scripts. You have a detection script that might detect something, and you have a remediation script that fixes it. That's the idea. That's what Microsoft intended. You find something in the analytics data maybe, you want to correct it, you create a detection script, and then you fix it with the remediation script. But we realized quickly that this can be used for something more. And that's where we see a lot of solutions coming out. Even from OEMs like HP create their own BIOS update solution for HP using Proactive Remediations.
Yeah, that's something you have created in the past, probably something around BIOS updates. What was that all about?
Yeah, so the BIOS update solution we are currently still in development on. It's based out of Maurice Daly's and Nicholas Anderson's original modern driver management, modern BIOS management tool.
Yeah.
And that tool was created for Config Manager. So they had a database, they had all that data in the database, and they could use that to generate Config Manager packages for these settings, for the BIOS and the drivers. While on the Intune side, what we're doing is that we're utilizing the vendors' download links directly, and we basically use the same tool as a front end to create a XML file we store in some private Azure blob that the clients can talk to. And then we can detect whether or not they have the correct BIOS version. And then we can update it directly from the OEM on the client.
And can we do also some compliance things with if you are detecting an older version of an HP or another BIOS? Can you do also connect that with the compliance policies, for example?
Well, you can now with custom compliance. You can create a custom compliance policy. I said the device is not compliant if this doesn't match.
Yeah.
But what we have been doing so far, we haven't done that yet. I mean, people can do that themselves easily. But what we are focused on is reporting on this. So we can actually have a dashboard, log analytics dashboard, that fetch the BIOS versions from all the clients, and then we fetch the latest BIOS versions from the OEM in the cloud. We match those together in a log analytics dashboard that shows how many of my devices are up to date on BIOS, how many is lagging 1 or 2 versions behind, and how many is like really old, like years. And customers are getting surprised when they see that report.
I can imagine. Because if you have a larger environment and you don't have that insight, because modern managed devices are completely disappeared from a basic point perspective, you don't see everything again. The data is there, but the reports aren't there already.
Yeah, well, actually in Intune, you don't have the BIOS version data natively in Graph.
No.
So we have to create that inventory ourselves using Proactive Remediations.
Yeah.
And then we dump that data into log analytics. So the first customer I created this for, they have 25,000 clients in Intune. And they are 100% Intune house. And they thought they had relied on Windows Update patching their BIOS. And I think it was like 1,100 clients that was up to date, and the 24,000 rest was old.
That's a big difference between them. I saw yesterday a tweet of Maurice about a new dashboard. Is that the Windows Update compliance dashboard? Probably there was an announcement that you will present it in the session that will come in an hour.
Yes.
Maybe that dashboard, is that also based on Endpoint Analytics, the data that you have there?
No, so the data in the Update Compliance dashboard, it's based on the Update Compliance solution from Microsoft that you need to enable in Azure.
Yeah.
And that basically gathers telemetry data from the Windows Update service in the backend and present that out into a log analytics workspace. And then we have found that the Microsoft dashboards on this is not good enough, or it's not good enough for our customers either. So we have been working on this and we had created many versions in between the one we have already released on the blog and the one today. I think it's 7, 8 versions between. And now we are finally in the state where we can release a new version to the community as well. And we also combined several sources into that dashboard. So if you are using our enhanced inventory for device inventory and app inventory, you will see more data in the dashboard. And it's dynamically hidden if you don't have that data.
And the dashboard was not good enough. Are you thinking that Microsoft is also adding your dashboard or your knowledge into probably some reports that they will create? Or
I don't know what they will do. The first time we released the dashboard, we got a lot of wows from Microsoft, including Gabe Frost and many of his PMs. Looks like this is really, really good. And then they went out and released their own dashboard recently, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
okay,
And it has some coolness, We have taken some of that coolness into our new dashboard, but still we don't think it has the details and the level of details that our customer wants. So we have expanded way beyond that.
Yeah, so probably in the next few weeks and months, your dashboard that you will publish in an hour, that will be more effective to use our customers in this way at the moment. Within the last session, you also talk about Custo. Custo query language is more a language that is used within the security space, within the M365 Defender and that sort of stuff. Why should I use that for my reporting stuff?
Because it's super fast and it's super agile. You can do, it's easy to learn actually the basics. I mean, you can get really complex, but to get the basic stuff, imagine just asking for how many iOS devices do you have that doesn't have the latest update. You can get that within seconds. If you have 1,000 iPads, you can get that within seconds, the results. It's just a simple example.
And if I use the graph, for example, that takes time.
It takes time, it's more complex, you need to authenticate, and you need to have permissions in Graph. In Custo, you can export those logs, and then you can give completely different set of permissions because they can't do anything. They can just read, right? So it's also very easy to just give more people access to read the data.
And what are your thoughts about the future regarding this? Not only the report within the update, but reporting in general within Endpoint Manager. What I know for within Defender, for example, there was also a lack of information that you have in the Endpoint Manager portal, for example, or in Defender. Will there be enhancements, in your opinion, within Endpoint Management related to reports, information that we need?
Yeah, Microsoft is continuously working on building upon this new reporting framework that they're working on. But the problem is, though, is that those reports they create, they will always be fixed. So they create a report for A, and it's looking like this. It's a good information, but human minds works differently. I might like this color to be green. You might like to be red. I might like to have bars. You might like pie charts. And sometimes you need a report that you should present to management. Sometimes you need a report for daily operations. And those granularities, I don't see Microsoft giving us all we're going to need ever. We are still going to have to make our own stuff. And so I've been keeping on pushing Microsoft in the ways I can to get more data into Log Analytics natively, so we don't have to create our own solutions to get data in, because that's a big pain point for many.
Yeah. So still need room for improvement, and also room for improvements from our side, from the partner perspective. So Microsoft don't do anything. Let them don't do anything. So there is room for us to do stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, they are using so much time on creating reports for us that maybe, SMBs and some companies will use. But in the enterprise space, just give us the data. And then we can create the reports that the customer needs based on the data. Right now, we're not having all the data.
Yeah, if the data is there, then we can create everything. That is basically the thing out of there.
Yeah.
What's for you is next? We are here on the conference. What's next for you?
Next for me, I'm going to fly home to Oslo.
Finally back home with the family.
Yeah, well, that's going to be nice. Always nice to be with the family. And the next for me is customers. And in a couple of weeks, I'm also going to Seattle for a partner airlift on Entra.
On Entra?
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting.
It's on the end of September, I guess.
Yeah, last week.
So enjoy that. Thanks for being here for the conversation, Jan.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me.
And hopefully we see each other next time. And then probably there will be one interview later on today. If you want to see that, please tune in. Otherwise, we will see each other next time. Thank you.